Begin tonight with breaking news. Right now, twin wildfires are burning in the San Gabriel
San
Valley.
Bernardino County, east of Los Angeles. And take a look.
Crews in Northern California are battling several wildfires.
In Ventura County, the massive Thomas fire showing no signs of slowing.
And firefighters are battling 16 large fires that have forced 100,000 people from.
California has always had a long history with fires, may it be natural fires that occur or human-caused fires. It continues to be a major problem, and as Californians, we tend to see these kinds of news clips all too often. Every year, fires tend to be larger and more destructive than previous years. Not only did California have the most destructive fire season ever in 2017, but also have the state's largest fire that burned the most acres, and they were two completely different fires. With global climate change, not only does California predict more fires, but expects fires to be even larger in size, which is going to be a bigger issue than ever before. These drastic fires consume homes, lives, and in return leaves us with large tax deficits, destroyed communities, and toxic pollutants.
In this video, we will be providing brief information on the social and environmental impacts of wildfires. We then will be providing you information on the current policy that is in place to combat these two issues, and then move on toward providing you policy recommendations.
California wildfires consume anything that gets in its way, like habitats, homes, lives, and at times entire communities. After these fires finish ravaging many homes in a community, the price of rent goes up in areas and leaves many displaced due to the shortage of home and price gouging. According to the New York Times, some people in Santa Rosa had to travel as far as 70 miles in order to find shelter after a massive fire struck the city, and it already sees a shortage of homes. In other cases, rent skyrockets and price gouging occurs. According to the Los Angeles Times, the median rent increased 32% in Sonoma County, 23% in Napa County, and 16% in Santa Rosa after major fires ensued. Although Governor Brown made it illegal until April 18, 2018 to increase the prices of needed goods by 10% in areas that have seen major fires, it is still not enough because it still occurs. The Los Angeles Times reported that two property owners faced charges of price gouging. They listed a home for $3,400 per month before fire struck, but ended up renting it for $10,000 after the fires. People who have been displaced in California by fires are in the thousands, because in some cases, entire neighborhoods are wiped out. In Santa Rosa, 3,000 homes were destroyed, which was 5% of the entire housing. And people shouldn't be displaced or have to worry about paying rents of $10,000 after a fire.
Wildfires create a significant impact on the environment, whether it be habitat loss, displacement of species and organisms, to polluting the quality of our air and water. If fire smoke can travel as far as 60 miles, and aerosols and particulates can travel hundreds of miles, these massive clouds of smoke and ash release harmful gases such as carbon dioxide and methane into our atmosphere that are then trapped and absorbed, contributing to the greenhouse gas effect. A toxic concoction of aerosols and particulates released by fires dwell in the atmosphere, becoming the air that we breathe, which can cause respiratory problems in infants and the elderly. People who work outdoors are also prone to suffering from health-related issues due to prolonged exposure to poor air quality caused by fires. Fires can also affect water quality and sediment characteristics in rivers and reservoirs. During an active fire, ash can settle on lakes and reservoirs that are used for drinking water. Post-fire storms are also known to alter the quality and quantity of water due to the burn area's higher rate of erosion. Storm runoff can carry trace metals and other chemicals swiftly into surrounding water supplies and ecosystems. Due to these changes, increased chemical water treatment is necessary and ultimately costly to provide clean water.
California has a number of policies that help prevent wildfires, like creating certain departments to combat and prevent fires. These departments, like the State Board of Forestry and Fire Protection, have the task of coming up with strategic plans. The California Strategic Plan, which was created in 2010 and revised in 2016, identifies a number of actions that is needed to minimize destructive fires, reduce casualties, property, and increase awareness. A policy that indirectly helps prevent, in some cases, displacement is issuing a state of emergency, which in a sense makes price gouging illegal. When a state of emergency is declared, prices of goods and services after a disaster or an emergency cannot increase more than 10%. These goods and services can mean anything from rent, food, or gas.
Though California has a number of policies, there are a number of actions that need to take place in order to protect human health and property of the lives of humans and animals. Our first recommendation is for the state to subsidize rent for fire victims for a few months in order to prevent people from being displaced. By subsidizing rent, the burden will be placed on the state and not on fire victims. Fire victims should be taken care of in the time of need. The way this can be funded is increasing sales tax in fire-prone cities by 1% and using that 1% of tax to fund these initiatives. Our second recommendation targets pollution. It is hard to fight air and water pollution due to wildfires. There is no way to change the destructive nature of fires. However, to combat mass pollution created by wildfires, we recommend that prescribed fires be implemented in fire-sensitive areas. We hope that this will minimize the amount of pollution and destruction. Although prescribed fires still emit harmful fumes and particulates, smaller fires will allow ecosystems to recycle their nutrients, and urban areas will be at a reduced risk of infrastructure loss and poor air and water quality. These recommendations help prevent fires and combat the social and environmental impacts of fires. Now that we know about the problems that wildfires cause environmentally and socially and the strategies California has in place, we now have a brief understanding about wildfires in California. These fires are not a small problem for California, but a costly, enormously dangerous one that it needs to prevent.
As a viewer of this video, please know that according to CAL FIRES, 95% of wildfires in California are caused by people, may it be accidental or on purpose. So please be fire safe and fire educated, because as Smokey Bear states,
so many reasons to protect your forests. Remember, only you can prevent forest fires.